Okay, welcome everyone to another one of my ZBrush tutorials, and what I'm going to do today is we're going to sculpt a bonsai pot, and do you know, the little trees that they train to be miniature, the Japanese make. Well, usually these little pots are rectangular and they set real low, and I had a friend in Tennessee that was a bonsai person, and so I remember he made several little pots. He made the molds, but anyway, that's what we're going to do today, and we're going to make a bonsai pot. So we're going to start with a Cube 3D, kind of a way to get going here. And of course, if you like, you can subdivide it before you go drop it as a poly mesh, and I'm going to do it a couple times here. I'm going to make it a poly mesh, and then I'll divide it a couple more times. I'll delete the low resolution, and so let's get it started. It has 33,000 polygons. We'll do it one more time. We have to go back here. Yeah, we'll divide it. Now we'll back up. That's really getting a lot of points there. We'll go to 131 there, and we'll delete our lower. Now, so we've got our cube, and as I've used before, back when I did a hammer, I like this taper tool. This will give us a shape to start with. And so what we're going to do is we're going to taper it on all axes. So we're going to get a shape like that. And we don't need it quite as wide, so we're going to decrease the width by the Z. Like that, get a nice little rectangle, and then decrease the height by Y. Now we got something to start with here. This can be kind of a low-lying spot. We might want to lengthen it a little bit. We need to lengthen it along the X just a tad, like that. That's our starting shape. So anyway, we've got this poly mesh, and it's at 131,584 polygons, and we got it in our subtools. So what we're going to do is we want to make an open-ended shape, and one way to go about that is we use the extract tool in our subtools. But first, let me do a Dynamesh on this real quick. We're going to Dynamesh this first to give us a little friendlier geometry to work with. And we're going to go to 256. We're going to be getting pretty close to the limit on subdivision. That's about 300,000 up here. So that'll give us a nice smooth shape. And we'll just take a look here. We got a fairly dense mesh, so that'll give us something to work with. So as I was saying is, we want to create an open-ended shape, and we're going to do that by using extraction. We're going to mask off the top here. We're going to blur this just a tad, and then we're going to invert it. So now we got this area masked off that we want to extract, and we go into the subtool to do that. We're not going to change any of the settings. We're just going to get an initial extraction here, and it's just smoothing the mesh border. It's going to take a little bit. There we go. So now we've got this. Okay, now we need to accept that. So we've got our starting shape, and you can see the extract here. So now we got a nice little open shape here. So we're going to remove this mask, and we're going to trim this top up a little bit. So to do that, we're going to use the clip curve, and we're going to use our curve. We're going to just draw out our little clip curve line, hold down the space bar, and we can chop off a nice little clean section there. So at the bottom we want to a little bit, one of the neat things I wanted to show you is I've done it earlier, way back, my cereal bowl tutorial. I've discovered the same thing is here. You create, actually you got two different meshes here. You got an interior mesh and you got an exterior mesh. So what we're going to do is we're going to delineate, we're going to separate the two. And we're going to click, now that's our interior mesh, and you can see the polyframe there. I believe if you show on the display properties, that's the inside. We're going to go ahead and, you know, going to group this and make it something I can, you know, show you along, get a little lighter color here. And you can keep flipping the button till you get a color you like, so I'm going to go with that. Now we've got two different meshes here. So we got an interior mesh and we got an exterior mesh. Now the reason I want to do this because when I do my masking on the bottom to create some little feet for the bottom of the pot, I can just do my sculpting on the exterior of the mesh. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide the interior mesh. Actually, hide the interior. Now we've got the exterior mesh here, and we're going to do some sculpting on this. But what I want to do is I want to maybe mask off about that much and blur the mask and then invert it. And I want to pull in these dimensions a little bit. It looks like we're going to have to do the X and the Z. So we're going to go to the deformation and we're going to size a little bit on the inside. That. Give us a little different deformation there. A little bit of definition. And I'm going to clear that mask. So we got a little shape there. And of course you got a few little odd creases here. So you can go to your smooth tool, and I always lose my zero shift on that. You can smooth these out a little bit. Alright, so what I want to do now, I want to put some little legs, 4 little legs on this bottom part. And looks like it came through on the interior just a little bit. We're not going to, maybe we should back up. I'm going to back up here. We're not going to hide the interior because we want to pull in everything, because that looked a little bit odd there. So we're going to remask this again. Or I made a mistake there. So we want to do the deformation like that. We want it to be on the inside as well. So anyway, we'll clear that mask and we'll go back to what we were doing originally and smooth out that a little bit. Now what I want to do is I put the legs on there, and I think what I did before is I hid the interior, and I want to make some, I hid the interior so the masking that I'm going to do here for the legs won't show up. That's what I did initially. So we're going to do some masking here, and we want to take advantage of our center line here, and we're going to do a rectangular mask, and what we want to do is okay, we want to mask here. We want a little mask line. You can drag it down with a shift key, but I need a little bit longer. And pop it there. And then we're going to take advantage of that center line. And drag this out a little bit. Move it into position. A little bit longer. Kind of make it in the center there. So, what do we want to do next? We want to See, our masking will show up there. We're going to pull up another mask line. Yeah. Right about here. Like that. We're going to get this line a little bit over that line there. And try to do the same width, more or less. Sometimes this is not an exact science. And we want to move it to the center and put it there. And maybe I'm making this a little bit too complicated, but I think we'll come up with something that we like here. Masking is, you can do a lot with the mask tools. You can do quite a bit. We'll try to follow a line. Yep. And get something about, keep it in the center. And it looks pretty close. Now you see we got our interior. I think we can now let's see. We're going to turn off that center because we just want to drop the mask here. Drop the mask here. Drop the mask here. And drop the mask here. So what I'm going to do is pull these legs out here. And we'll blur it a little bit. And we need to either offset or size. We'll offset negative Y. Like so. That'll be good enough. So now I could have done the interior, but it makes it a little bit awkward, so we're going to stick with that, and maybe just to make this a little bit refined, we'll mask like this. I want to maybe get kind of fancy here. And make our legs kind of give them that little bit of finesse here. This. And let's see if we blur this and then invert it. And then I know we can unmask. Actually, we can unmask like this. And then unmask. Oops, don't want to do that. Unmask. Of course, we can pull this up. And then we can that. Then we'll turn our center back on. We'll get really really tricky here. Doing real gymnastics with with my fingers. It's kind of like doing a stretch on the guitar. On a difficult guitar stretch. Yeah, now inverse this. Now we can pull this back in. We'll blur that a little bit. And we offset this negative. Yeah, a little bit of finesse there. Not exactly what I wanted. Back up. Now we'll just take it at that. Something like that. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. We'll go ahead and clear that. So we've done our fancy thing on the bottom here, and actually we can go in, and I think I'm just going to leave it alone. I think it's fancy enough. So now we've got our little shape here going. And, oh, you know, I had that so the interior didn't get matte. Well, isn't that a coincidence? So yeah, I did accomplish what I set out to do. So you see the bottom isn't deformed. So that's really cool there. That's really cool. Really cool. Now, we want to maybe just leave this alone. I'm going to go ahead and put my toy plastic material on here. And I'm going to make this pot kind of a light green. Of course, John, if you're out there watching, this kind of goes out to you, John. John Kent in Middle Tennessee, my dear friend, Bonsai Man. This goes out to you. So we're going to take a little bit of we're going to fill that. I like that. Now what I did earlier, we want to kind of make a fancy glaze finish on top of this. So we're going to mask off the top here. We'll turn off the center. Let's do it regular. Right. Not like so. We're going to invert that. We're going to blur it. Maybe one at a time. Now I think a really good color here would be like an orange. We'll kind of get an orange color going here. Let's like that. I like that. We're going to turn on the spray tool. And we're going to use kind of an alpha here, something like that. And we're going to turn our intensity up, maybe a little over 50. And then we're just going to kind of we're going to spray this in here. Add a little finish there. Kind of get a little fancy. It doesn't matter if it's on the inside. I'm fine with that. And move the ends here. Kind of give this kind of a, you know, I don't know, just something really nice. It's like you've done a glaze, a fancy glaze on it. And now I'm going to throw in some white. Maybe we can lower that intensity just a little. And you can also go on the stroke. I'm just going to leave that alone. We're moving along really good here. And of course you can do a little smoothing. Now when you do the smooth tool, you can smooth Z add, but we're not going to smooth Z add. We're just going to do it just a little bit of smoothing, just a tiny amount on color. And kind of like when we were doing the dice, let's smooth things out a little bit. You don't have to go really overboard on it. You just hit it and go. So that's the pot, and so we're ready to do a render here. We've got more than enough polygons to get a really cool display here, and I think that's about it. I mean, you can make dozens of these things day in and day out. But anyway, we'll turn on our perspective. We'll let that grid so our shadows fall. Maybe rotate it a little bit. Set it on the floor. Of course, we want kind of a neutral gray background, and we'll set up something like that. Maybe we want to turn it like that. And of course, when it comes down to rendering this thing, it seems like the more lights the better. So I start turning on lights. I just turn them on. Turn on 5 or 6. The more the merrier. And of course, this little blue light over here, I've been changing that over to like an orange. You get that little highlight there. And so we got a couple of lights working here. I like shadows. That's a radial light. So it doesn't make a shadow. I'll make that a shadow. Make a shadow there. And shadow here. What's that little colored light? Where'd it go? Down? No, we'll turn on another one. Ah, that's a little color one. That's a radial. What is it? That's a sun. Okay. So we got plenty of light here. And shoot, we know we're going to make a really nice render. So we just go ahead and set our render properties and shoot for a real nice render here. I like to turn up the global specular a little bit. It gives it a little gloss there. And you can your shadow down a little bit. Maybe add a little blur to your rays. And there we go. And it usually takes, I got several lights on, but the more lights the better. It's it, you know. You always plenty of lights. We're rendering at 16 samples. And we got a fairly heavy model here at 427,480 active points. That's roughly the number of polygons, or exactly the number of polygons. And we got a ton of lights on here. So we should get some nice blurred shadows. And like I said, I turn up that global specularity, put that little bit of glisten to it. And I haven't got anything else going on, so the render should be pulling down here in just a few minutes. And there we go. So there's your bonsai pot, and we'll be making some more tutorials. I got come up with a couple more things to make. And I think my next one is going to be how I make a crowbar, but I need to go over that a couple times, and we'll show you. We'll be back with more tutorials. So thanks for watching, and that's it for today. So make sure you tune in and subscribe. Thank you.